younger brothers, sisters, and elder brothers, sisters. Indeed, I feel very happy mixing with people, and particularly young people. When I sit with old people, then sometimes I feel, you go first, me go first. Then when I mixing with young people, 85-year-old person mentally sometimes feel younger. So I'm very happy, very enjoy meeting with you. Then time always moving. So no force can stop that. Time moving, changing, it's nature. Now the question is whether we utilize time properly or not. And for that, it's the past, we can't do anything. But the future depends on present. So we can make opportunity to create future more peaceful, more happy, or difficult future. Now, in that respect, the generation of 21st century, you are the key sort of people who create this century, more happier century or difficult century. So the generation of 21st century, you have the opportunity and also responsibility. And also the remaining 21st century, like me, we won't see, but you have to live. So therefore, it is your own interest to try to have happier century. So the generation of 21st century is very, very important. So please, these young brothers, sisters, please think more seriously how to build happy world, happy century. Because, a lot of problems which we are experiencing and seeing, including war, these are human creation. So, since these problems, many problems, human created problems, so logically, we also have the ability to eliminate these problems. If not entirely, certainly we can reduce these problems. So, the young human being, you have a very good opportunity and also moral responsibility to create happier world. So now, like these violence, war, mainly creation of anger and also selfish and narrow-minded. If we create on this world a concept of oneness of human being, no basis of we and they, then you see these such a sort of cruelty and war, too much based on we and they. And that also finally concept of I, we, lacking a sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. If we consider entire 7 billion human beings as human brothers, sisters, then you see no basis to kill each other, to bully each other. Therefore, now it is very important that we have to develop sense of oneness of human being. And then logically, you see, human being are social animal. And then any social animal, they have the sense of concern about their own community, because their own life very much depends on the community. So ancient time, community, you see, his or her own area, firstly family, then small community. Now today's world, the reality, the Eastern world depend on Western world, all this technology, all this sort of modern science, all these come from West. We very much rely on them. Then also for economy, these things, West also is in need, depend on East, and similarly South and North. So from that, judging that reality, then today's human community seems entire 7 billion human beings is one human community. So we Buddhists usually, you see, recite this is some sort of prayer, entire sentient being, and we describe mother sentient being. And then also you see the other religion, like Judeo-Christian tradition and Muslim, those theistic religion who believe God. So from that viewpoint also, you see, entire world created by one God. So that God, something like our Father. So all 7 billion human beings are children of one Father, God. So, judging from that, entire 7 billion human beings are brothers, sisters. So, these theistic religion, except Creator God, very powerful. And God, everybody, you see, consider God infinite love. So our Father, one God, is infinite love. So we all 7 billion human beings are children of that God. So if you think seriously, how can human beings kill each other, bully each other? We have to live side by side with spirit of brotherhood, sisterhood. Then, as I briefly mentioned, according to non-theistic religion, or Sangha, or one part of Sangha. No concept of creator. And then Jainism, no concept of creator. And then Buddhism, no concept of creator. But then the main sort of message is ahimsa and karuna. So in this country, over 3,000 years, the concept of ahimsa and karuna. So when you seriously practice ahimsa, then no basis to attack, to harm other. So no basis of war, violence, and all these ahimsa concept related with karuna. So when you sort of follow the teaching of these ancient Indian teachers, ahimsa and karuna, then automatically you see that person become very peaceful, very compassionate, and a sensible person. I think India, comparatively today, India most peaceful. And then the religious harmony, because of ahimsa, concept of ahimsa, different religious tradition, homegrown different religion, and religion come from outside. That's mainly Judeo-Christian and Islam and Zoroastrian. These come from outside. But you see, remain here, peaceful, and religious harmony in this country, truly, really remarkable. So in our neighbor country, due to different religious faith killing each other, in this country, religious harmony, marvelous. So therefore, India, the 1,000-year-old concept of ahimsa and karuna is very much relevant to today's world. And then, again, India's tradition, secular way. You see, whether believer or non-believer, believe this religion or that religion, is personal matter. As a human being, you see, we need practice of ahimsa and karuna. So among the Egyptian civilization, Chinese civilization, Indus Valley's civilization, which is India's original. So, you see, this Indus Valley's civilization, I think the main sort of concept, as I mentioned earlier, non-violence and compassion. And that also, you see, according secular way, then today it's really very much relevant to today's world. Since the secular way approach these things, so through education, not through prayer, not through religious belief. Religious belief is individual matter, individual business. But this concept of peace, compassion, is relevant to entire humanity. So now, I often used to express the 1,000-year-old India's tradition, ahimsa, karuna, through education. Say, firstly, in this country, should revive in education field. Not only education which exists today is very much oriented about material value. Basically, existing modern education comes from West. It's in the West, Judeo-Christian tradition, so there are sort of, whenever some problem or some difficult phase, just pray God, God, God. No sort of education or knowledge how to tackle our emotion, our mind. So now this country, before Buddha, before Mahavira, already have the concept of ahimsa and compassion, karuna. So now, of course now a lot of people here, so I may mention, I have 4 sort of commitment or responsibility. Number 1, I consider I am just one human being on this planet. So now even scientists say basic human nature is more compassionate because we are a social animal. Any social animal, they are, as I briefly mentioned, their sort of life very much depend on the community. So therefore, basic human nature is more compassionate. Now that's some scientists now thinking that way. So that should be basis we can develop compassionate human being through education. So these days I expressing in kindergarten level, the teaching or education how to take care of your physical health. So same time, we should include hygiene of emotion, hygiene of physical, hygiene of emotion. So children also, do you prefer a smile or like this kind of face? So naturally, smile, indication or expression of loving kindness. So when I was young, like you, when my teacher showing a little bit of sort of serious face, I don't like. When my teacher, make some jokes and some sort of smile, then I do not feel tiredness. If more serious face, then I watch as soon as finish that lesson, I feel much happier. I prefer like that. So therefore, young children, since we love smile, warm-heartedness, so now education should include about hygiene of emotion and how to create happy mind, peaceful mind. So my number 1 commitment is try to create 7 billion human being, more compassionate human being. For individual physical health also, now these days some scientists also now mention peace of mind, very important for healthy for health, healthy body, and because of longevity, long life. So therefore, now not talking about next life, not talking about Buddha or God or heaven, simply how to be happier human being, human society. So through education, we should include education about our emotion, how to tackle anger, fear, jealousy. These emotions are destroyer of peace of mind and eventually also destroy our health. Therefore, you see, in our education should include more, also the explanation, more more education about our emotion, about our mind. In that respect, in this country, very, very rich material about mind, emotion. Usually I describe something like map of emotion. Once we fully understand or knowledge, then much easier to tackle these emotions as a secular way. So these things mentioned in religious text. Now here you say, according to my own little experience, a lot of explanation in these Buddhist texts about psychology. But then this should consider as an academic subject, not a religious subject, according to Indian tradition, secular way. So, number one, my commitment is try to promote a compassionate mind or loving kindness, loving kindness through education in the whole world. As I am one person out of 7 billion human beings, wherever I go, I always talk these things. Number one. Number two, my commitment is try to promote religious harmony, as I mentioned earlier. I have full confidence. Religious harmony is very possible. This country, as I mentioned earlier, all world religious traditions live together. And mutual respect. And in some cases, mutual learning. I often use mentioning the Parsi community in Bombay, less than 100,000. And they are Zoroastrian. He used to come from outside India and then settled in Bombay. They carry some fire puja or something. In big city, over a million, I think several million Christian, Hindu, Muslim, less than 100,000 population, Parsi, very happily, no fear. So, that's one example, this country. I think religious harmony is truly exists over 1,000 years. So, I have full conviction religious harmony is very possible. So my number two commitment, wherever I go, I always try to share with people all religion, in spite different philosophy, different teacher at different time, but all carry message of love. and with that, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline. So all major religions inspired in different philosophy, the main message is same. Therefore, and that also is logically, all these religions, except you see according to the Creator, then different. Otherwise, all these religions, human created. So human naturally, human good quality, best quality is human love. So all religion which essentially created by human being, they carry the concept of loving kindness, taking care of other, not harming other. So that all religion of human being carry this message. And then, you see, mentioned in different philosophy, it is necessary according different people, different mental disposition, even if in different geography, different climate, you need different way of approach. The goal, aim is same, loving kindness, compassion, like that. So religious harmony, very possible. Otherwise, it is just India's neighbor, Afghanistan, and then the Arab world, in the name of religion, killing each other, unthinkable, really. So therefore, the religious harmony, very important. So it is possible to create religious harmony. India is the example. Okay. And then, number 3 commitment, I am Tibetan. Tibetan people trust me. So I have moral responsibility to think about their future. So political matter, now already I retired since 2001. I completely retired from political responsibility. Then we already have elected political leadership. Then, regarding Tibet, ecology. Now global warming really become more serious. So many experts about ecology, they really warning us. So Tibet case, according to some Indian ecologists, they say the Tibet high altitude and dry climate. So like ecology, these once damaged, it take longer time to recover. So ecology condition in Tibet is quite delicate. So I often use expressing the concerned people there, and particularly Chinese, including Chinese business people. See, exploitation about the nature resources there. This should take care. Yes, it is worthwhile to use nature resources, but forest, these things, they should pay more attention. This is my regarding Tibet. And then most important is Tibetan knowledge. From childhood, I study these texts which originally translated from Sanskrit. So, when I was like you, I quite lazy. Then you see, when you see, I the counting. Now, when holiday come, so the next day holiday, then today I feel very happy. I think you also have same feeling, isn't it? So I'm quite lazy, but those subjects which I learned, they also the traditional way to study these things. Firstly, root text, learn by heart, memorize. Few hundred pages, memorize. Then explain each word according commentary, mainly Indian masters' commentary. Then we extensively use debate because Shantarakshita, who are introducing Buddhism in Tibet in 8th century, he himself, great logician. So therefore, you see, he introduced Buddha Dharma in Tibet according Nalanda tradition, his style. Logical approach is very essential. So now the Tibetan also the knowledge, not only just prayer or religious belief, religious or ritual, but logic and philosophy. The Nalanda philosophy now very much is the similar quantum physics. Quantum physics half. The Nalanda sort of also now quantum physicists, you see, they already develop things outside, external things does not exist as appears. If you analyze, nothing you can find. So quite similar. The Chitta Mantra's concept, external thing does not exist. Only mental creation, sorry. Like that. Mental projection. And then, so quantum physicists, they say there is huge gap, appearance and reality. The reality does not exist as appears. This is exactly the Nalanda philosopher, exactly as he mentioned these things. So I want to share with young brothers, sisters, when I listen quantum physicists, naturally I, with respect and humbly, listen their explanation. Meantime, in my mind, I feel I know much better. Because we study years about the Nalanda tradition, Chitta Mantra philosophy, as well as Madhyamaka philosophy. Within Madhyamaka, there are some Madhyamaka philosophers also, you see, accept the Chitta Mantras, mind-only school thought. And then the Prasankika, Madhyamaka, wonderful. Now, the similar quantum physics, nothing exists as appears. So, mention these things because our destructive emotion, very much based on appearances. You convince things exist as appears, and some nice thing, attachment, some negative thing, anger. So now some student in China about quantum physics, now they express, so once they believe nothing exists as appears, that automatically reduce the grasping something independent existence there. That's the basis of all these negative emotion. So therefore, the quantum physics not only external thing, but observer also, you see, through centuries investigation, where is I? That's observer. So there is no independent I. Now here differences: Atma theory and Anatma theory. Like that. So therefore, Tibetan tradition, some Chinese professors who notice these things, they express Tibetan Buddhism is true lineage of a Nalanda tradition, and that tradition is very scientific religion. Some Chinese professors, express that way. So therefore, the Tibetan knowledge, I think, very useful to preserve. So it can make, I think, a certain contribution regarding our sort of knowledge about inner world. Then that's mainly regarding the Tibet, the Kasota. And then political matter, as I mentioned earlier already, we have all elected political leadership. And since 74, according Pandit Nehru's advice and also according to our own experience, then we are not seeking independence or separation from China. We very much sort of willing remain within the People's Republic of China. And then important is Tibetan knowledge must be preserved, and including Tibetan language should be preserved. And when we say Tibet, in 1914 similar convention, they say make distinction: inner Tibet, outer Tibet. So independence for Tibet, outer Tibet, inner Tibet, Amdo, Kham, these are, they consider inner Tibet as a part of China. So if we only concern outer Tibet, then around less than 2 millions. Then including the outer Tibet, inner Tibet, Kham, Amdo, then altogether about 6 to 7 millions. So we are sort of concerned all those Tibetan, which Chinese constitution recognizes as a Tibetan sort of race, should have same right to preserve their 1,000-year-old knowledge and including that language. So that's political field. So we are not seeking independence, but we should preserve Tibetan ecology and rich Tibetan culture. Now today, I think ancient Nalanda knowledge, now in India, all these knowledge disappear. So only among Tibetan, we still kept all these Nalanda thought, Nalanda knowledge about psychology, about logic, about, these like quantum physics, these things, we still, in our tradition, very much alive and also very useful to tackle our emotion. So these knowledge, in order to keep peace of mind, not just a blind faith, but through analytical meditation, what's the value of anger? What's the value of selfish? Ultimately, all these negative emotions related with selfish. So the great master like Shantadeva, they are writing Kasa, Shinju Kasa.
A guide to the Bodhisattva way of life.
Really wonderful to tackle self-centered attitude and create altruism. So thinking other actually benefit yourself maximum way. So since many years I use the word we are selfish as a human being. Whole evolution come with take care oneself, including animals. But now since we have this human brain, so our selfish should be wise selfish rather than foolish selfish. So wise selfish means since we are social animal, our individual life depends on the community. So take care maximum way about others' well-being. That's the best way to fulfill your selfish interest. Like that. So the Shantarakshita, firstly Shantarakshita introduced Buddha Dharma in Tibet in 8th century, and he himself logician. So they also approach anything. So all the first our reaction is why. The sort of also the question mark, why? Even Buddha's own word, why he taught that. So some Nalendra master rejected some Buddha's own teaching. If you accept this literally, it goes against reason. So we must reject. Like Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, these clearly mentioned that. So Buddha himself, I think, allowed us, all my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment. So many Nalendra masters exactly follow that way. So, as I mentioned earlier, say Nalendra tradition, Buddhist tradition, non-tradition, much sort of was emphasis on logical approach. So Buddhism, as Chinese, as I mentioned earlier, described as a scientific religion. And my own experience, around, I think about 40 years, I have serious discussion with modern scientists. You see, eventually it become very useful to mutual learning. We also learn something from scientific sort of finding. And then they also, very much appreciate about our knowledge, our mind, about how to tackle these destructive emotions like that. So that's regarding Tibet. And then my latest commitment is try to revival of ancient Indian knowledge about ahimsa, karuna, and the vipassana, analytical meditation. This is India's tradition. Now modern India, I think, not sufficient to pay attention about this knowledge. Your modern Indian very much sort of follow the materialistic education. Now time come, you should pay more attention about ancient Indian knowledge, about mind, about emotion. Then logically, India is the only nation who can combine modern education that oriented about material value and science and technology, very useful, and then meantime ancient Indian knowledge tackle our mind to build inner strength or inner value. So only India can combine ancient yoga knowledge and modern knowledge combined. modern knowledge bring us physical comfort. Ancient Indian knowledge bring us mental comfort. That's, I think, in whether believer or non-believer, secular way. So I usually make distinction. These, I think I already mentioned. You see, these knowledge we should consider as an academic knowledge, not religious knowledge, although come from religious text. But we should consider these are secular way and about because of the academic subject. So I'm trying to revival of ancient Indian knowledge. India, the young Indian, now you should pay more attention about ancient Indian knowledge about mind or ahimsa or karuna, these things. The young Indian now should pay more attention and study. So the secular education, you should include education about mind, as I mentioned earlier, from childhood, hygiene of emotion, these things. So that's why the latest my commitment. I really found number of Indian scholars, they really showing interest about my commitment, revival of these ancient Indian knowledge and combine ancient knowledge, modern knowledge, like that. Then India can make a significant contribution regarding world peace, peace through inner peace, like that.